Have you ever worn a specific lucky shirt while watching your favorite sports team? Completely convinced that because they won the last time you wore it, the shirt actually helped them win? This common habit is actually a textbook example of the post hoc fallacy. Looking at the cover for the book Attacking Faulty Reasoning, the text inside outlines exactly why this kind of thinking breaks down in real life. The fallacy takes its name from the Latin phrase post hoc ergo propter hoc. That translates directly to after this, therefore because of this. It describes the error of assuming that an event B is caused by an event A simply because event B happens second on the timeline. In logic, this assumption violates what is known as the sufficiency criterion. The mere fact that one thing preceded another is simply not enough evidence to prove a causal connection. Without more proof, the argument shatters. We fall for this trap because human brains are hardwired to look for patterns. We desperately want the world to make sense, so we often mistake sheer coincidence for a true causal link. Let's look at a real-world scenario. Imagine a woman gets fired from her job. This happens 2 days after her ex-husband played in a charity golf tournament with her boss. She firmly concludes that her ex-husband said something terrible to her boss during that golf game to sabotage her career. The flaw here is concluding causality based strictly on the timeline. She lacks supplementary evidence linking the golf game to her termination. While an event happening first is necessary, timing alone is deeply insufficient to prove it actually did. Here's another domestic example. An apartment manager confronts a brand new tenant, blaming them because the building's furnace just broke. The manager claims they never had a single problem with the heating until the tenant moved in. Again, they are relying entirely on chronology to make their case. Now, it is entirely possible that the ex-husband or the new tenant are actually guilty, but the arguers haven't provided enough evidence to prove it. A timeline is a starting point for an investigation, not a valid conclusion. Let's test this with a new scenario. A business owner notices declining profits and claims that their sales have been dropping ever since they stopped attending church. Pause the video right here. Based on what we just covered, identify exactly why this statement is a post hoc fallacy. The business owner uses that temporal relationship, the phrase ever since, as their absolute only proof. By doing this, they completely ignore external factors that actually drive sales, like changes in the local economy, market trends, or consumer habits. When you encounter this kind of thinking in real life, you can systematically dismantle the fallacy. The first step is to explicitly point out that their claim relies on a timeline and nothing else. The second step is to formally request supplementary evidence. Ask for documents, witnesses, or data that actually prove the causal link they claim. If they still push back, you can use the absurd counterexample method. You expose their flawed logic by applying their exact timeline rule to two completely unrelated events. For instance, arguing that a garbage truck driving past caused your phone to ring just because it happened right after shows how ridiculous the rule is. This forces the arguer to admit that sequence does not equal consequence. Let's review. The post hoc fallacy defines the error of assuming event A caused event B just because it came first. This fails the sufficiency criterion. To fix it, demand hard evidence and use absurd counterexamples to prove your point. Timing provides important context for how things happen in the real world, but without hard evidence, a sequence of events is just a coincidence. Logically sound arguments require proof, not just a calendar.